Sweetie Pies, and welcome to another episode of My Slice of Life. I'm your host, Madison Bellissimo, and I have Miss Alessia Cruci with me today. Hello, hello.
Hello, guys.
One of my best friends. She's on the pod. I'm so excited.
Long time coming.
Yes, truly. We've been trying to finalize our schedule because we both just happen to be the busiest bodies.
Yeah.
You more than I feel like, and that's no shade or tea. That's just you are constantly booked because you're a producer.
Yeah.
And so you are working pretty much nonstop. Like if the job presents itself, you're working.
Yeah,
basically. You're doing post, you're doing pre, you're doing everything. You are
everything in between, and trying to balance it all though. That's definitely has been one of my goals.
Yes, and I have to say you have at least with the friendship, and then you know we were like. I was like, the pod will be here. You know, I was like, don't feel pressure to come on, but when you can come on, I want you on ASAP. So yeah, thank you so much for coming onto the pod.
Oh my God, thank you for having me. I feel so honored when you texted me and you were asking me. I was like, oh my God, yay!
Yeah, well, I love, and you're again because of your producer personality. Like you are such a go-getter, and you're so I guess the best word for it would be you're just so organized and meticulous. Like you got resources. You're packed with resources. So you were such a fun guest to ask because I was like, okay, and then what do you want? And you were like, I've been preparing for this. You know? You were like, I have 8 recipes I can give you right now, which is just such a fun, I love that. I fucking, that's my Super Bowl. So I was like, yeah. And so you sent me all these amazing TikToks and recipes, and you're like, I could have this. I really like this. I love chocolate. You know?
Yeah.
And we have a funny story for the people at home listening and or watching. And, you know, sometimes the good thing about producing your own podcast is there's a bit of a veil that I can operate behind. If things go wrong, no one needs to know.
Yes.
You know, but we thought this was a funny enough story to share. I called you this morning.
Yes.
And I was like, hey, so fun fact, I was surprising you. One of the recipes you gave me was a gorgeous mocha tres leches cake that looked awesome. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is really going to impress Alessia. And I was like, I can't wait to make it. I've never made a tres leches. This is incredible. So fun. I make it last night because it's an overnighter. You have to let it sit
Sink.
for a second. Yeah, exactly. And so I'm sick. So I made the mistake though of letting it sit at room temperature for more than 2 hours because I thought it just needs to soak in and then it has to be chilled at some point, for a couple of hours. Upon my research this morning, that's not the case. And I called you being like, so if I serve this tres leches cake to you, there's a more than 20% chance I would be giving us a foodborne illness. I was like, do we risk it? And we both were like, nah.
I gotta do it to work tomorrow.
Yeah, we both have work. I was like, I'm not going on this podcast and giving one of my best friends food poisoning. Thank God you're so flexible and so sweet. You handled it like a champ. If I was having someone else on, I feel like I would have gotten a different reaction. It's oh, that's really disappointing. Maybe we reschedule or something like that. You handled it with the ultimate grace and can-do attitude. You were like, you can make me whatever. Don't even worry about it. And I was like, I got T-3 hours to pivot. And you were, again, so gracious. So thank you for being so sweet.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I feel honored to have anything that it's cooked by you because I was lucky enough to have enough of your cooking throughout the last year that we've been friends. And I just, you're just so good. And I feel like everything you do, it just you put in so much love, which it does come through. So I was like, I'm not worried. I mean, we'll have another night in, and one day we'll make it together. That's not an issue. I was like, as long as there's chocolate, I'll eat it. I'm gonna be okay.
I'm good as long as it's chocolate. That's such a beautiful line because it's true. And I think you're absolutely right. I already profusely apologized. If anyone is I hope Maddie's I was on my knees. I'm so sorry. But I will say with the promise of absolutely we will be making it again, or I will be making it for you again, whether that's we do it together or you come on the pod again, or I just make it for a random night for you. You will be getting that tres leches cake because it smelled so good and it looked so good. So anyway, with the pivot, now that people have been 5 minutes in and they're like, well, what did you make, Maddie? Great question. I made Miss Alessia and myself some what are they called? Lava cakes? Like,
Lava
yeah,
cakes, I
like
think.
a beautiful, delicious chocolate individual serving lava cake. And I'm very excited for us to dive in. So let's do it. And I made a fresh whipped cream on top and did a little shaved chocolate as well. Oh yeah. There's a lot. It's a very involved. Oh. Ooh, it's warm, which is nice. Very chocolatey.
Oh, wow. I think the whipped cream is just like perfect on top.
Yeah.
Just like balances it out.
Because it's quite rich.
Yeah.
But
oh my god. This is so good.
Thank you. I will say, again, first time making a lava cake. Thank God they don't take that long to make.
Wow.
I would have maybe enjoyed more of a sensation of like an oozing chocolate center. But I still feel like it's soft in the center, which is nice.
It's still soft, yeah. And it's like so rich.
Very rich. Wow.
My summer turned pretty mind went into that.
The raspberry coulis or whatever.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, 90% chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Well balanced out.
Mm-hmm.
With the acidity of the whipped cream.
No, truly, because actually, we were just talking about this before we got on the mic and the camera. I haven't watched The Summer I Turned Pretty, except for the finale episode. Like a psychopath, I was like, I know enough.
Hilarious to me.
I know enough from the internet. I could watch this finale episode, which high-key I could.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like when you texted me and Ari about it, you basically nailed it all. You know?
I was like, this is crazy. What?
Yeah,
why
exactly. And I feel like you had the same reactions that me and Ari had, you know, and like you were missing a bit of context for a couple of things, but
which
like
you filled me in on. Thank you.
But it was kind of like, you know, totally fair because obviously you just didn't watch anything. We need to go do a watch party.
Yes.
Again. Like, I mean,
but yes, it's giving Jer Bear's raspberry coulis individual chocolate cake that he wanted for their wedding cake.
With a mirror glaze. I'm disappointed that we don't have a mirror glaze.
I know, I should have gotten a mirror glaze. I'm so sorry. That's my bad. But I will say, for a last minute pivot, not horrible.
I'm obsessed with it. So good.
You're so sweet. And
It's
again,
so
gracious. Feel free to take a bite at any point. We're going to be chatting.
I know. And I told you this earlier, and I thought that you knew, but then I realized that you didn't. But I am obsessed with lava cakes.
Yeah, I didn't know this, which is hilarious.
Which is so funny. But like my mom, every time I go back to Italy, she always makes me a lava cake because I absolutely love it. And there's this like restaurants next to our home that they make amazing lava cakes. And so every time that I go back, like the first night in, usually my parents just take me out and we have pizza because I haven't, you know, I crave pizza every time I go back home.
You're an Italian. You have to.
Exactly. And so I always have a pizza, and then afterwards I always have the lava cake from that place. It just feels so homey to me.
That's so sweet.
It's just so good.
And sentimental. I mean, that just makes me weepy because like this is kind of half the point of me making baked goods, whether they do elicit like a response that is homey or nostalgic or something like that. Because I feel like food can do that, and especially baked goods. So to hear that, I literally didn't know. Like you had said it, I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, oh God, the pressure's on because you like, it's like your mom makes it for you. Because that's also one thing. I don't ever want to go up against the moms, the nonas. I don't want to do that. But it is so sweet to know that this is something that's nostalgic for you.
Yeah.
And that, well, I'm just glad that I could pivot and we can do it. And the tres leches cake will be another time. But yes, thank you so much for being here. And I know you already mentioned that you are Italian.
Yes.
And you've been here in America for almost 7 years. Is that correct?
7 years, yes. Wow. I came here at the end of 2018.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And why'd you come out?
Well, for Hollywood.
Yeah. Hollywood, baby.
For Hollywood, baby.
It's business, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I've always knew that I wanted to be in the film industry. And I'm a very impatient kid. So I was like, I don't want to study in Italy and then move after school because that's what everybody was telling me, which is like, just go to the university here. And then if you see that you like actually, studying film, and why not? Then, you go. And I was like, nah, I want to go now.
Yeah.
19-year-old me just
Incredible.
being like, now I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. So I just moved here for school, and then I just stayed for work, basically.
Yeah,
so
and you've been here pursuing it.
I
and-
know,
and
yeah.
doing it well. And I think one
Been
thing
doing my
that's
thing.
yeah, I mean, I'm so impressed by you, especially because it makes sense knowing you as a friend, but for the people that don't know you at home, to hear that you were so spunky at 19 that you were like, fuck it, I'm going to move to a different country is so admirable and so brave. And I just find it so fun, so sweet that you did that. And I'm like, again, it's inspiring. Like, I think most people wouldn't take that leap, and you did, and it's paid off handsomely.
Yeah, well enough. I feel like I'm the kind of person that I'm so afraid of regretting things. And I have regrets for like everything, even like the smallest thing like on planet Earth I could regret.
Okay.
And so I'm like, for these big decisions, I never really had to think twice.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh no, I know that at 50 I'm gonna regret not doing it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do it, because like I feel I've read so many times of like people, older people, and being like, I remember everything that I didn't do in life that I wish I did. And I was like, I don't want to get to that point.
Yeah.
I just want to try it all. I want to do it all. And and that was like my 19-year-old me just being like, what's the farthest I can go from home?
How far can I go?
Yeah.
And it's hilarious because you're an only child.
I'm an only child.
Which you would think that like the only children, at least I'm not, I don't have the correct perspective. I have like an outsider perspective where I'm like, oh my God, if I was an only child, I feel like I'd be even more like attached to my parents. But I feel like maybe it created this independence from a young age that you were just, it was for you and what you wanted to do, and you were able to continue following that.
No, it definitely did. And I think that like also I have amazing parents, because like my parents have always told me since I was really young, whatever you want to do, we're going to support you.
That's incredible.
And that I've always given for granted, because I'm like, oh yeah, they're parents. That's their job.
Yeah.
Which it is their job
It
to
should
support
be. Yeah,
you.
like that's
But it's not.
It's not the case always.
It's not the case for everybody, you know. And you see it like, I read so many like stories about people that were like, oh, I could never say this to my parents because they would never accept me. And like, I'm lucky that I can't relate to that, but I also have compassion for those people as well. So definitely like, having them backing me up was like made it easier for me to do the leap, because like if they were, and they tried at the beginning, obviously we're like, are you really sure?
Sure.
Do you really want to do this? Like, let's pause for a second. Let's think things through. And I was like, okay, let's think.
Yes. Well,
you guys think.
Yeah, you think. I'm already done it.
I'm already there.
Yeah, I've been thinking for 19 years, baby.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to have discernment as parents. Like, as much as like you want to support your children, like, unabashedly, I think it is so fair to be like, let's just take a look. I don't think it's not, you wouldn't be the issue of like, do I think you could achieve it?
Yes.
Let's just look at the probability of everything like that.
Yeah.
So like I as much as I share a similar sentiment, my parents were the same. They were like, fuck it, do whatever you want and we'll support you. And I'm so lucky for it. I think that sometimes that discernment is very helpful, especially in industries like Hollywood and show business, where you're like, okay, you can't just be like, I just want to be an actor, I just want to be a producer, like, and that means I can do it,
Yes.
There is a lot of sacrifice and training and taking odd end jobs and things like that to do it, to get the experience. But you did it, and you came out here and you went to USC.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I went actually to Santa Monica College first.
Okay.
My English wasn't great.
Sure.
So couldn't get into USC right away. But also USC wasn't my goal. My goal was UCLA. I didn't get in.
Really?
I didn't even know that. Oh my God. Okay.
Hilarious that you went to the rival too.
I know. That was like the most hilarious thing. But also it's so much harder to get into USC than it is to get into UCLA.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what? How did I got into one instead of the other? And that was like the best thing that could have happened in my life. You know, like, I mean, when life throws you stuff, it's always a redirection. And that was like, it's very much like when I forget is what I hang myself onto it, because I met amazing friend. I met people that I still work with
all the time.
Some of my closest friends are
Totally.
like from my experience at USC. I have amazing relationship with my professors still, and and it was just like an incredible opportunity. But yeah, back, I mean, I went to Santa Monica College, did my undergrad kind of like G part there, and I had a beautiful experience. And I think it was like, because there's so many international people at Santa Monica College versus USC. USC, it was me and another guy only being international.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody else was like, American. So I feel just, the fact that Santa Monica was like surrounded by international, it was like such a smooth transition. And, most of my Italian friends do come from Santa Monica College, because that's like a bunch of us were just like there. So yeah, that was like an incredible experience. And then when I moved to USC, I was like, whoa, this is like real school now. This like,
I mean, it's massive too.
It's massive.
It's like I even me who grew up in America and went to an American college. If I go to a USC or UCLA campus, I'm like, holy shit, this is crazy.
It's massive. Professors are like, they are very much like, you're an adult now. Yeah. And I'm not going to treat you as a child, which I appreciated. Yeah. But I remember like in one of my first classes at USC, it was online because like COVID. Yeah. The professor was like, you guys are not in high school anymore. So I don't care about your excuses. Like, you either deliver or you deliver. And I was like, I'm glad that I had my experience prior to a different, university in the States, because I was like, this is tough. Yeah. When you come from a different country, that everything is different.
So terrifying. It's terrifying like, starting off anyway.
Literally.
But it is good that you had like a kind of prerequisite American college experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Okay, that's I didn't realize that. And I think you have talked about Santa Monica in the past, but I guess I didn't put two and two together that was like the first step, and then USC, which I think is especially for the Cal States. Like, so many people go to a community college or something like that first, and I think they're like, that is by far the best trajectory to do it. Like,
no, it definitely is. It's so smart. You save so much money.
Which
honestly, like, I didn't even know until like I got to the end of it. Yeah. But again, coming from a different country, like, all of this stuff is stuff that like I just had to learn, But yeah, you save so much money, and like I got the same connections that I would have no matter what, So yeah, I mean,
I think you made the smartest decision possible. So
I did the decision that it was like the best for me at the time being, like with the resources that I had in my hands, that was like, what I could have done. And like, did I wish to do 4 years USC? I loved USC so much. So like, if I still could be there, yes. Like, if like people could pay me just to go to school at USC, tell me where to sign up. Yeah. Tell me where the job application is.
It's called a PhD. Let's get you in.
Let's not go that far.
No, but it's true. I totally get you.
You're right. It is a PhD.
No. I'm joking with you, but I'm like, that is so funny, because like, I agree. Like, sometimes I have the same thought where I'm like, do I? And I think so many people have that. Like, in their late 20s, early 30s, they're like, do I go back to school? Because it feels like so much, and you still are wanting to learn, and you're actively learning so many things, and then to symbolize your learning with a collegiate program, a university, whatever. Yeah. And you're like, well, I learned a lot there, so I could learn the most there if I go back. Yeah. And I think it's wonderful. I think if you choose to go back to school, incredible. Sometimes I think about it, and then I'm like, nah.
I know. That's the thing. I'm like, wait, do I need to do assignments again? And I feel like I'm such an intellectual, curious person that I just like, I learn by myself like so much. Like, I go on rabbit hole on the internet like so many times, and sometimes it's just like
every day.
Oh my God. Yeah. I just, maybe it's also my ADHD. I just like think of something very random, and then I started just Googling it, and then like I go on a rabbit hole, and then all of a sudden I know that if you clap, the bees go away.
Really?
Oh wait, didn't we talk about it?
I don't think we talked about that. What? Oh my God. For someone who's allergic to bees, I need to hear this. So if you clap, they go away?
Yeah, because it's like, it's a frequency that it bothers them. And so it kind of like, they move away.
Really?
Yeah.
Fascinating. See?
I feel like every time that I have a bee nearby, I'm always like
You're just
clapping,
like-
and people always look at me as if like I'm dumb, but then the
Yeah.
bee goes away. And so
And
I'm
then
like,
you're like, guys, read up on it. It's
Yeah.
the clapping.
it's the clapping.
Frequency,
But I know a bunch of
obviously.
like these random facts just because of like me.
That's
just,
incredible. You're extremely well read, and I'm glad that you're
Yeah.
bringing that up because you are. I think you're genius, and I really love being your friend because of that. You do have just like an innate curiosity, which I strive to have myself too. So like to have someone that also has that willingness and eagerness to learn it's very exciting to have a friend like that. So thank you for being that.
Oh my god, yeah, no, and I love you for this as well because like I feel like me and you when we start going on rabbit holes
we
on
dig.
stuff like when we start talking about things like we would talk for hours and hours and then we're like, wait, how would we go from that topic to that topic?
And we can string it back.
And we just like and I think it's just like so fun to kind of like I love doing it with you. I love doing it with Ari because she's
Ari is
very
the
much
queen.
this way as well.
Yes.
And so yeah, it's so fun.
That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, I think our friend group does. We do excel at that. We're like, la, 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 like having 10 conversations at the same time. Because I think more than half of us have ADHD.
Oh, yeah. If not all of us.
Yeah, literally. I'm like, I'm not diagnosed, but I laugh about it all the time. I'm like, there's certain qualities that I'm like,
for sure.
Points to it. Yeah. But I will say, I do want to ask you our first question, which is if your life was a genre of music, television, media, anything like that, right now, what would it be?
I thought about this question so much. I think it would be a rom-com.
A rom-com.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think, I don't know, I'm such in a happy moment of my life right now. And I'm just getting all the time just by myself. But I don't know, like sometimes I just think of my life and I'm like, and it's just like the craziest thing happened to me all the time. And it's just so funny.
Yeah.
Like then I'm like, literally. And I'm like, how is this my life?
Yeah.
Like, and like I think, and I also think back at like, you know, when I was younger and I was like, oh my God, I dream of living in LA. I dream of having like these experiences, and now they're just like part of my routine that I forget even that I'm like, you know, I was talking to my friends in Italy. They were like, wait, have you met so and so? And I was like, yeah, he comes to my coffee shop all the time. And it's just like so normal to me, but now they were like, oh, this is so not like a costume. And so I'm like, I love to kind of like pause and think about this like crazy things that happen and just like laugh about it and be like, how is this my life?
Yeah, it puts it in perspective when you're visiting home and you're like, oh yeah, I totally see that star all the time because of blank, blank, blank. Yeah. And they're like, what? Like, because they, like, I feel like so many people here, like, if you go to Hollywood and you walk on the street, you're bound to see a famous person. And then some people come here and they're so disappointed because they're like, the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Like, what? Like, no. But, like, truly, if you live in LA, you will run into people a lot.
No, exactly.
Yeah, if you're, especially in, like, there's some restaurants and, like you said, a coffee shop where I'm like, every single time I'm at that restaurant, I see someone that's somewhat notable. Yeah, no, and it's just like, and if you think about it, it is bizarre.
It's like, very when bizarre. Does happen? When does that happen, like, except in LA? It doesn't.
It doesn't.
And so, like, I'm like, this must be a rom-com. That is just like,
this romantic, beautiful life.
Yeah, that is just like, and it's not even a rom-com because, like, of a partner or because of, like, you know, just because of, like, me, myself, and LA. My partner is LA. Kind of like just like living this life here. It's just like so many things happen and I'm like I just laugh about it. And
That's
it's just
incredible.
Like, so it's definitely.
And what do you think the audience would be yelling at you? Like if they're watching and they're like, oh my God, Alessia's in her beautiful Me, Myself in LA rom-com. What do you think they're saying? Do you think it's positive?
I think they will be yelling like, just say it.
Yeah.
Just like, don't let them step over you. Just like, fucking go do it. Like, I feel like I've always been a go-getter, and I think I still am on a lot of things. But, you know, growing older, you grow wiser, I guess.
Yeah, right? You hope.
I hope.
Yeah.
I guess. But it's very much like, I think I'm way more, like, thoughtful and selective on things, and, like, way less... I don't throw myself into things as much as I used to, you know?
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm just like, no, I just need to take that 19-year-old me back out and just like don't be so afraid to just like say something. Just don't let other people like step all over you, you know, and just don't, you know, let that small thing ruin your whole day. Kind of like just go say it, go do it, just like, you know, get over yourself, get over your head, you know.
Sure. And it's benefited you in the past. Like, if you would have let the naysayers convince you not to go to LA right at 19, what would your life be like right now? Like,
I don't know.
So the proof is in the pudding that your resilience and your resistance to adhering to other people's opinions and thoughts and like preconceived notions doesn't benefit you.
No,
like you are incredibly capable yourself, incredibly educated and courageous, and so you can do it yourself.
So sweet.
It's true. It's true though. That's why I love having my friends on, because I'm like, as much as like I will eventually very much so enjoy getting to know people on the pod, it's such a luxury to have such incredible friends that I can pull from, that I really can speak to your character, or I feel like I can, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like I know you well enough and have had so many varying experiences with you. I've traveled with you. I've done, like a small trip, but I've traveled with you. We've had friend not drama, but like we've seen friendships, like friendship dynamics and like going around with that. We've also seen professional things. We've referenced each other in professional things. You know, it's like we have like a very wide dynamic of what we've been through, and I really can stamp of approval give Alessia Cruci a rave review. So that's why it's awesome.
I love that.
But yeah, okay.
I'm gonna rewind this little speech every morning.
This is your affirmation.
Yes,
I love that. Or you just like include this clip next time you apply for a job. You're like, and this is something that I'd like to show you.
You know the question, like, what would friends say about you?
Literally. You're like, funny you ask. My friend has a podcast. Literally. I love that. But yeah, it's true. And I'm just so happy for you. And I want to just validate you that you have had such a wonderful past year. Like you've been, like when you talk about the rom-com, like it's funny, I see the motif of you like walking down the street and the music's playing and you're like giddy. Like I'm like, that is your life right now. And it's incredible.
Yeah.
And it's so well deserved. So
no, I think like I worked really hard to get where I am, and like I feel I'm just like enjoying myself right now, which is like the best thing ever. It's just just being relaxed and just like loving life. It's just like, I mean, going through so much that I was like, I got to a point that was like, oh, will that even ever happen for me again? And it just like, then realizing that, oh my God, it is happening currently. Now.
Yeah, I mean,
it's currently happening. I'm not currently happy. I'm currently like just giddying about life. And I love my friends so much. And I love, my day-to-day life, which is like such a beautiful place to be, and just to be able to notice it, because I feel that that's where I've always struggled with. I've always like looked back in the past and be like, oh, I really had a really good moment.
Yeah, and I didn't appreciate it.
And I didn't appreciate it back then, and I didn't notice it. And now I feel like I'm way more present.
That's
so
wonderful.
That's like, that definitely has been huge growth.
Yes, that's huge growth. And it leads us perfectly into the question of like, if this is a time where you feel like you can really assess the simple pleasures in life, or like be grateful for them, what would you say are like a material item or mantra or anything of that nature that feels like a simple pleasure for you? What would you say?
I'm a very much a routine person. And that is like grounding me so much. So like just having a routine in the morning, just like waking up, doing the things always in the same order.
Yeah.
And it's, could be maniac for somebody, but I feel like, at the end of the morning, you've already accomplished so much. Yeah. And like, you never know how the day is going to go. And so just the fact that, at least you have some wins in your morning. That's
huge.
That already puts you like on, a good perspective.
Positive. Yeah.
And like, and I'm very much like, my 9 to 5, and I just like, wake up every Monday through Friday, and always the same routine. When I was just back in Italy, obviously I didn't follow it. So I'm very like it's not the kind of things that I'm like, oh, if I don't do it, I'm gonna have an awful day. So
Yeah.
it's very flexible.
And when
But-
you're on vacation and whatnot, like you can obviously be like, okay, I'm
Exactly.
putting this aside for these 2 weeks because I'm on vacation.
Exactly. But just like the little things that I do in the morning, they're like brewing my coffee,
Okay.
they're going on a walk. They just like, those are like things that I definitely like make me feel great. But also just like, seeing a friend and just like, trying a new sandwich shop.
Yes,
down the
which we did
street,
last
which we did
week.
last week.
Yeah.
And it's just like, having that shared thing now that, like every time that I see mommy, I'm just always like,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh,
that's
we
where
had
I
such a-
went.
I
I went
know.
with medicine. And it's kind of like, all those little things that even like every day that I was in Italy, like at 4 p.m., my friends and I were going getting ice cream. And I was
So
like, those are like my childhood friends. And we've had ice cream since we were like, I don't know, 7 years old.
Yeah.
And it was always like, okay, it's 4 p.m. It's like merenda time.
Yeah.
Let's go get a little ice cream. Let's go get like a crepe. Let's go get something. And it's just like, the routine or even that I'm like, oh, in summer, I know every time I'm going to see them. And just like seeing, just like how much we've grown and how feels that nothing has changed, but everything has changed at the same time.
Wow.
I don't know, those little things that I absolutely kind of like love to reflect on. And I just like bring me so much like peace and joy that I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe that I've had these people in my life for like 20 years,
Absolutely.
So
So special.
yeah.
And it is so, again, grounding. I think anytime you have a routine, even if it's a flexible routine, like getting ice cream at 4 p.m. every day, which I would love to adopt that routine. That's incredible. But I think you're right. Like it's so grounding, and so it just puts life into perspective for you. You go like, oh, that is something that most people don't get, or like as much as it feels like something I can grow reliant on, and that like in that right, that is something that can be its own luxury, right? To be able to rely on something, to rely on people, to rely on your friends. And you're such a social creature. Like I feel like you are constantly booked. Every time I'm like, hey, you're like, oh, I'm seeing my friend at this time, and then I'm going to this thing, and then I'm seeing another friend, and then we can get dinner after. And I'm like, oh my God, are you going to have enough gas in the tank? Like, are you going to be like socially able to have that many conversations? And without fail, you are every time. But to that point, you are that reliable friend. And I think that you give that and you provide that for others. So the fact that you have that with your friends is so special. And I love that
and
that's
you're
something.
a part of those friends too. So I feel like, everything you just said, like it kind of goes back to you, because I feel like, you and, everybody, all our friends, like if I have anything, I can always call and be like,
so true.
I have this issue. Can somebody come? And know somebody would come,
Oh,
which is
100%.
kind of like, living so far from my family, like even the smallest things is kind of like can disabilitate you and just be like, oh my God, I need a support for this like one thing and I don't know who to call, and having like to call you guys is such a big, thing that it just like you don't even think about,
But you do have an in case of emergency.
Yeah, and obviously like you hope that every time that you call is kind of like, oh my God, I have to geek about something. Let's go get something. But I know bad thing might happen, and hopefully they won't. But it's always feels great to kind of like know that we were able to build something like so special amongst ourselves.
To know that the reality is, it's mostly going to be sharing fun stories and what workout class are you going to, and what's that new concealer you're using, and oh my God, I tried this new candle. I feel like those are our conversations a lot of the time. But then we have the depth of like, oh, I'm going through a really rough time. I'm trying to look for a new job. I'm trying to, I don't know, with my partner, blank, blank, blank. I'm not saying that personally, but I'm saying like that has come up for people in our group, and for them to be able to confide in each other and to come to us, it's so important.
Yeah.
And I just am thankful for it every day. I am, and not that I want to water it down, but I do want to go back to your coffee and your walk. So like,
oh my God,
do you make a specific kind of coffee every morning and then you actually go on a walk with that coffee? Or is it, tell me more about your routine if you don't mind.
That's where I'm saying like that I flex it a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm bringing my coffee from Italy.
You bring it? Are you?
I was like, oh my God, no, I'm
it's
privileged.
Shipped from Italy.
It's shipped in my luggage instead of my clothes. Because I left shoes and
Yes.
clothes at home in Italy
For the
because-
coffee.
For the coffee. Let's be clear.
I think no one's blaming you for that.
But yeah, no, one of my closest friends, Roberta, she gifted me her Nespresso machine.
Oh my God.
And so like I have been buying the cups in Italy just because I just like the taste better.
Sure.
They're way cheaper.
Yeah.
And I just like bring them back. So I just like usually toast those during the week because like I also have a mocha, but I usually use it during the weekend only, just because it takes a long time to brew and then
Yes.
I have to clean it.
Yes.
So like the Nespresso is way easier. So I just like do that, and then yeah, I would go on a walk around my
just
block, and I live on a hill, so it's kind of like
A workout.
It's a kind of a workout,
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
like
You live on a steep hill.
I live on a steep hill, so I just like go all the way up the hill, and then I just like go all the way down again. I
Yeah.
guess, you know, like I just like do a little loop.
Yeah.
But it feels great, and you just kind of like, you know, you get a little bit of sunshine. Like I mean, the sun usually hasn't risen fully when I wake up, but
Yeah.
it's still like, you know, the first lights are already out, and there's
It
not
balances
that
your circadian rhythm.
yeah, and there's not that many people around yet, and I don't know, somehow like the air in LA always feels so stiff
Crisp.
and heavy, but in the
Yes.
morning it feels so good. It's just because
Yeah.
like people have not been out yet.
Yeah. Like
you
the
know?
smog is not in the air with
Yeah,
us.
yeah, exactly. So it just feels great. So yeah, I try to do that, but then like sometimes I just like to sit in with my coffee and just like hold it in my hands, and
I
it's
love
warm, and I love the smell of coffee, and I just like would just
So-
hold it and just like smell the coffee and just like do a little meditation and just like, you know, relax with it. And you know, there was like for a period of time that someone at work gave me some greens powder.
Oh. Okay.
And so I was like doing that and doing my walk with my green powder, which it felt so good because it was kind of like, it was lasting me a little bit longer than an espresso.
Yeah.
So I was actually being able to sip it throughout my whole walk, which
Oh,
was like nice.
nice.
Because I usually get to the end of my walk, to halfway my walk,
Yeah,
and my
and you're like-
espresso's done, and now I need to hold the cup.
Yeah, you're holding a cup on your walk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally. So I kind of liked that routine as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, I feel like, yeah, my routine is always like ever changing, just the way that
Which is
we
incredible.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, you know, obviously there's things that are never gonna change. Like I'm always
Yes.
gonna make my bed.
Yeah.
I'm always gonna brush my teeth. I'm
Yeah.
always gonna brush my hair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then like the small things are the ones that I kind of like, I just let them evolve with me, I guess.
Yeah. And that's such a beautiful way of putting it. You
Yeah.
let them evolve with you because we are ever evolving.
Yeah.
And like you are officially in your mid-20s
Oh
now.
my god, yeah.
I hope that doesn't, I hope you're okay with me saying your age.
Yes,
But I'm like,
totally.
it's because you're so young. I'm like,
as if like you're an ancient
I know.
woman. Come on.
It feels like it. It feels like it. I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, but I'm the Gen Z of the group. That's
yeah,
for sure.
yeah, you're full Gen Z, and you are so wise for your age. And I just value your opinion so much. And one of the things I love asking on this pod is there any advice that you want to give the listeners that is maybe from a lesson you've learned yourself, like maybe a curveball, something like that? And I think you're in such a pivotal time in your life that you have been learning so many lessons
Yeah.
personally. So what would you say you would want to instill in others or pass along to
I was
others?
so excited about this question. I honestly, like, I thought about this question like so much because I'm like, I'm still so young, and I'm
Mhm.
like, I don't know if I have anything that I could say
Mm-hmm.
that other people haven't said already, and you know that it's not cliche or anything.
Listen,
you know,
cliches are a cliche for a reason, right?
Yeah,
like
that's
they're
fair.
like they
That's
are.
true.
I totally agree with you. I know,
Yeah.
like a lot of the time, and especially when you're a curious person, you're like, I want to find a different way to phrase this or a
Yes,
different way to express
exactly.
it. But I feel like cliches are around for a reason. It's
reason,
because
yeah.
there is some truth to
That's
the
true.
echoing of that.
That's
so,
true. And if quotes keep being quoted, there's
Yeah.
a reason for it.
Yeah,
That's
I just
so
want to give
true.
you permission to say whatever the fuck
No,
you want.
I know,
you
but I thought so much about it, and like there is like, I realized that there's like two people
Mm-hmm.
that have completely like changed the way that I saw life. That's maybe a bit big, but like that,
No, I get it.
I feel still like that I still remind myself of what they taught me, and one of them was one of the teachers at USC.
Mm-hmm.
And funny story, and I don't think I've ever told you, but I was in this class that it was not from from USC that is like the school that I went to,
Mhm.
but it was from Annenberg, that it was like the journalism school. And I
Okay.
took this class on communication, and it was only me and the teacher for an entire semester.
No.
Yes. Everybody dropped out
No.
before the deadline. And the professor's assistant called me and was like, hey, just so you know, on Wednesday, whenever the class was, it's gonna be only you and the teacher.
Yeah.
He used to be the dean of Annenberg, but he is not anymore. He's technically retired, but he
Sure.
loves to teach this one specific class.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And he said that he was still gonna do it if you're interested, but it is gonna be just the two of you. So I just wanted to let you know.
Mhm.
And and he was like, and between me and you, off the record, and now it's gonna be on the record.
Yeah.
He's like, Ernest, that is the name of the teacher. He's such a sweetheart. He's such an amazing person, and you will learn so much from him.
Yeah.
And me being a people pleaser, I was like, oh
Of course
no,
I'll
poor
take
guy. Everybody dropped.
Yeah, you're like, I can't let Ernest down.
I can't let him down. I was like, God damn it.
You're so sweet.
So I was the only student in the class, and it was the best class I've had at USC.
Really?
And he wrote a book, so we read the book throughout the class.
Yeah.
And there was like one part of the book that was intellectual curiosity,
Okay.
and I loved that part,
Mhm.
and we talked about that part like so much.
Yeah.
And one thing that I was really afraid moving away from school is that I loved learning so much, but then I was like, how do I keep it going if I don't have a goal? Because if
Yeah.
I don't have to go read a book for school or for
Mhm.
class, like how do I keep it
Yeah.
coming of learning new things?
Yeah, of
And
course, of
that
course.
kind of like, I talked so much about that with him, and I
Mhm.
still do, because like we're still in touch.
Mm.
And like he was always like, you're always gonna have a question in your head. There's always gonna be a question that's gonna pop up, whether it's like, where was that light made of, or
Sure.
how do I scare a bee away,
Yeah.
or how do I do this one thing, or
Yeah.
why do I say this word in this case? Like,
Yeah.
you're always gonna have a question.
Yeah.
Just start from there, and then just like go on a rabbit hole, basically.
Nice.
And I was like, and he was allowing me to go on rabbit holes, which I
Mhm.
already was doing it. But a lot of people were like, you need to stop doing that. You need to stop getting
Mhm.
distracted. You're just getting distracted so often, which I
Mhm.
do. But he was kind of like allowing me to do that.
Yeah, and
He was,
encouraging it.
yeah, and he was encouraging it. And he was like, just, listen to the questions that you have and just start from there. And I feel that that's something that like I still do. And, I mean, I love reading
Oh yeah, you're a huge avid reader.
I'm
Yeah.
an avid reader. So like every time that I have like something, I'm like, oh my God, let me read about this. And then like I would read articles, I would listen to podcasts, and then
Mhm.
I mean, you know me, that I get like small obsessions that I'm obsessed with for like a month or 2 months, and then
Yeah.
I go all in, and then I'm like, okay, I'm done.
I learned enough.
And then I learned enough.
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna move on.
Yeah.
And so so that was definitely like just just listen to yourself, listen to your questions, and just like be curious.
Yeah.
Be curious about the world. Be
Feel
curious
free
about,
to follow those questions.
yeah, follow those questions. Like you're not taking away anything from anything. You're just like
Mhm.
giving something more to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whether that's learning about quantum physics, or whether that's
Yeah.
learning about how to scare a bee away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like follow that instinct that is already within you, and just like learn to listen to it. So that's definitely
That's
like
beautiful advice. And I think that's so Alessia coded too, which is so incredible because like you said, you always have that innate curiosity.
Yeah.
So to hear that was not only like championed, but truly validated in this class, it makes so much sense that you would have felt the most yourself and felt
Mhm.
the most encouraged in this class. And I'm
Yeah.
just so glad that a young mind was encouraged in that way.
Yeah.
In such a one-to-one environment.
That was
where-
that was, I think, like, again, was the best class that I've taken. And I think it was because it was a one-on-one.
Yeah.
So it was very much like tied to, me, I
Mhm.
guess. And like, the book that he wrote was very much like about, all communication rules, but
Yeah.
it was very much from a business perspective, because
Yeah.
it's kind of like business and journalism. It was like, the theme of the
Oh, okay.
school that I took the
Yes,
class in.
Yeah.
But then he was like, well, you're not in business and you're not in journalism, but you're in film. So let me just restructure the entire class for you. And that was like,
oh my God, that's incredible.
I know. I adore him. He's so great. I love it.
That's incredible advice. And I'm glad that you're able to pass that on, because I couldn't co-sign that more. I'm a huge believer in curiosity and following that and letting yourself get distracted, because I feel like so many times there's a time and place. I don't want to be, I'm not trying to be like, never have any kind of, I'm not trying to be an absolute, like, or like an extremist in that way. But I will say, so often when you do follow that instinct and you're like, oh, this led me to here, and I actually found the curiosity in this, and then I wanted to know why bees get scared by, like, I love this example that we keep bringing up. But it's true, when you get to follow things like that, you just have more information to go off of. Yeah. And then you like get to breed more curiosity, because you have more information that is applicable to the larger questions at hand.
Yeah, literally.
And it's just such a beautiful cycle.
Yeah, and it's just like, even if it's like something that you're like, oh, I'm learning about this, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it in my life. It doesn't, it just like, you just build character and just like, you just become a more like complete person, just like, by knowing multiple things and just by being interested in multiple things, you can hold so much more conversation just by, having different interests and, different things that you love and things that, it's, I was like talking to someone like a few days ago, and he speaks 10 languages.
Oh my God.
And he was like telling me how he learned about those 10 languages. And it was just so fascinating that I'm struggling learning my third. And he was like, oh, fuck, I know 10. And I was like, whoa, this is insane. And he just like, but that was also like, pick a point of like conversation with somebody else. So, I think that like the more diverse you have and the more things and that, you're passionate about, I think is like, what, I don't know, you just can relate to people better.
Totally.
I guess,
you can put yourself in their shoes easier. And I think that, okay, I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent, but I feel like it breeds humanity too. Yeah. Because like the more you know and the more that you can relate to things and relate others to scenarios that you've read about or experienced yourself or know someone that experienced that, just makes it easier to put things into perspective and be like, oh, they're probably dealing with this because of that. That might be a struggle, or that might be a huge win for them, or that might be something that they're insecure about. Yeah. And when you can put more knowledge into directly channel it into consideration, like, oh, now that I know these things, I'm not going to like patronize others. I'm not going to be like, how do you not know that? Yeah. I'm going to try and encourage the curiosity myself. And then when I see that people aren't aware of these certain things or haven't studied something that I'm well versed in, it would be one thing if the guy yesterday or whenever you were talking to him about the 10 languages was like, oh, you only know 3? Yeah. Like that'd be insane. And then you would feel discouraged to learn that third language, which 2 is already so impressive. But like, if he was on his high horse and was like, well, I know 10 and it took me only 5 years. And but instead, if he approached it with like, oh my gosh, that's incredible that you're learning a third language. I love languages. It's been such a cool opportunity for me. Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to be so real with you. Once you know 5, the rest are like so easy. Yes. And like if he was able to encourage you like that and help promote that curiosity that you're possessing. Exactly. Oh my God. Like that's the definition of humanity. I feel like literally. It's like he's able to relate to you and encourage you and see you as you are and not belittle you for learning.
No, exactly. And I feel it's very much like similar to, to tie it back also to our industry, it's kind of like the more curious you are, the more creative you can also be. Like there is so many movies that are about like, science, for example, that it's something that like you would think, oh, science and cinema don't really get into science and art in general don't really get mixed. But then you're like, wait, actually, like they are way more tight than you think. If you think of like, you know, the theory of everything in the movie, you know, like
Totally.
it's so science-based, so
Mhm.
science backed up,
Mhm.
you know. And, you know, as a producer, I'm like, well, I would need to understand that science so well to make sure that the script is in line. And it's, of course, I'm going to have an expert like reading it and like proofreading it, whatever. But like, I'm like, as, you know, a leader in a production, I need to be, you know, aware enough of the topic to be able to kind of like, you know,
feel confident
to feel confident
in
in
the
doing
art
it
that you're
and
making.
Yeah, exactly. And also the more you know, the more like, you know, as we were talking earlier as well, I was like, oh yeah, I read about this painter and I'm thinking of like pulling up a concept for a movie about it, you know, because I think, you know, that painter was so fascinating. And is that, you know, just because like I discovered about this like painter, and that's how I like my creativity went on a tangent again. And was like, whoa, why don't we do this way? So it's,
and it applies your special skills, which is your production skills, like being a producer and being able to curate a project like that,
exactly,
huge project like that, and be able to highlight the things to make it easily digestible to the everyday man.
Exactly.
And I think that's where science films, like we could go on a whole fucking tangent on this, but yeah, please
while you chat, I'm like, I'm gonna have a little
cake.
bite.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's true that like there's so many, like Arrival, right, or like Interstellar or something like that, these wildly popular movies that we've watched, but it's so accessible for the everyday man, even though they're massive concepts that most people without a PhD wouldn't fully understand, you know?
No, full.
But like they make it accessible and they make it interesting. And I think that's the one thing that we probably can relate over. I'll speak for myself, is that's why I love media. That's why I love TV and film and podcasts and things like that, because it makes things accessible and entertaining and digestible for everyone.
Yes.
And you can make any version of that, and you can make any niche kind of thing, and you will find an audience.
Yes.
There will be an audience that's like, I fucking love that.
Yeah.
You know? So I think it's interesting that you said that, and I totally agree. I think your curiosity is only beneficial, like highly beneficial to your production and your producing skills. So it's so cool to see someone so naturally possess that and then be able to use those innate skills for your work.
Yeah, and I think that like, you know, everybody kind of like has it in them. I think it's just like you kind of just forget about it because you get so caught up into your everyday life and you just like, you know, 9 to 5 and then going home and cleaning and cooking and just like, you know, just like the routine part of it that you just kind of like forget how just fun it is to experience something new, which it kind of like ties me to the second thing I thought about, that you kind of said it, but my friend boss told us this, like as we graduated, like a few months after graduation, she told us, your guys' passion for your whole life has been film. Now you work in film, so you gotta find a new passion. And I was like, no, because you know how's everybody saying, you know, just do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life. Just follow your passion, and you're always gonna be happily ever after. The more I am old, the more I'm working with what I love, the more I'm like, that's not true. Yeah, actually,
that's so fair.
It's so not true.
Yeah, it's so
because
fair.
Actually, like, I wish that I could go to the movies and watch a movie just for the pleasure of doing that.
Yeah,
because my mind is always gonna go to, oh, how much did it cost to do that? How much? Like,
how did they get
how
that?
did they get that?
Yeah.
How, you know, like, how we get to that point? Like,
I've been at that location.
Literally, I'm like, oh, that's right outside my house.
Yeah, literally.
Look
You're
at that.
Like, oh,
you can see into my window.
They're saying it's in Silver Lake, but we all know it's in West Hollywood.
Literally.
You know? Yeah, it's true.
Literally, in my mind just like goes there naturally, and that's okay, because like, I mean, that's what I chose. But then like for a while I was kind of lost, and I was like, wait, what's my passion now? Because like you need something that it's not your job to kind of like just reset, you know, like if your passion is your job, then you work 24/7. then you're burning out.
Yeah, you
and
eat,
I think
sleep, breathe it.
yeah, and I think I got to that point, you know, like when we met, I was very
Yeah.
much at that point that
Yeah.
I was so burned out. And like I just finished school and I was working in film and I had nothing else going on but just like working my 9 to 5 and then producing outside of that and then just like watching movies on the weekends with my friends and just like reading scripts because I love doing that and doing coverage because I love doing that. And I got to a point that I was just like really exhausted by it. And I kind of like stopped loving it for a while, you know? And I was like, why? I mean, I don't know how to do anything else. So obviously I'll keep doing it. But then I was also like, I don't know if I love it as much as I used to. And that's so sad when, you know, you grow up with a passion and you love something for like so long in your life. And then all of a sudden you're like, I don't think I love that thing as much anymore.
Yeah.
And that was like a really harsh, you know, reality for me. And that's when, you know, my friend's boss told me like this thing. And she was like, you need to find something else. You need to, you know, that has been your whole life. You've been
You're laser focused.
passionate about movies, whether you were aware of that or whether you weren't.
Yeah.
But that has been like, you know, you need to find something that is just different. And, you know, my friend and I started watching Formula One together. And so like we got so passionate about it.
Yeah.
And then I just found passion again in reading. And, you know, I started my book club with Ari and Vero and like some of the people in our chat and in our group of friends.
Yeah.
And I just started reading again, you know, novels and stuff that I used to love. And then I was like,
For fun.
Yeah, for fun. And, you know, I just started running again, you know, and started running with a purpose. And I did a half marathon with Nada. And so I was just really trying to kind of like refocus on other things. And, you know, there are still movies that I watch that I'm like, okay, this is my comfort movie. I'm going to completely unplug.
Yeah.
This is going to be completely off, you know, but I think that, you know, the majority of things that I watch, especially the new ones, my mind just goes there. And that's, I learned to kind of like just accept that and just be like.
That you're always going to have the producer lens
yes,
on media.
That's just always going to happen and that's okay. But I think that just like finding other things that, you know, I love so much and I love so deeply that I can use to completely like decompress is kind of like has been like a journey on its own.
Yeah.
Has been like, I mean, it has been lovely. I've been absolutely loving doing that. And that has been like the best, definitely like one of the best advices that I've gotten.
Yeah.
And, you know, looking back, I'm like, I wish somebody told me before I started like this journey.
Sure.
Because, you know, I wished maybe, I'm like, if I were to go back 10 years, would I do film? Like, knowing what I know now, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's
you
fair.
know, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, again, I'm not going to move anytime soon.
Yeah,
I'm
you
too
love
good at what I
LA.
do to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But I think that it's definitely a serious conversation of being like, okay, do you want to trade in your passion for work or not? And I think that, you know, we grew up with people saying, oh yeah, I was so passionate about this thing, so I did it, and now I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. I think that like a lot of people just like misinterpret that, you know, like I was listening to a podcast with I forgot his name, but like the guy that did Airbnb.
Oh, yeah. I don't know his name either, but yeah.
I'm blinking on it, but yeah. Anyway, he was saying, I was, you know, so passionate about Airbnb and all of that, but then I was like, what was he passionate about? He was not passionate about Airbnb because Airbnb didn't exist.
Yeah.
What was he passionate about? Like, he was passionate about the fact that he could travel with his friends and on a budget.
Yeah.
Because he was broke.
Yeah.
That's what he was passionate about. He wasn't passionate about,
Making it
passionate
accessible.
about like making it accessible. He was passionate about making it accessible for himself and not for others. He was not passionate about coding.
Yeah.
He was not passionate about spreadsheets.
Yeah.
He was not passionate about calling investors and cold calling people.
Yeah.
He was not passionate about that. What he was passionate about was like, you know, just the traveling on a budget.
Yeah.
You know, and that worked. But I think it's kind of like, you know, when I heard him talking the first time, I was like, oh yeah, I'm passionate about movies. And I'm like, I'm passionate about the end result. That's what like I've always been passionate about. always been the end resort.
Accomplishing something.
The accomplishment of it.
I totally relate to that.
Then, like, everything that comes before, I learned to love it. I learned to love it. But it was not what I was passionate about. I wasn't passionate about spreadsheets.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. About line producing. Yeah.
Come on, let's be honest. Who is?
Yeah.
But, like, I learned to love the process. But I think that that's, like, an important distinction to kind of, like, make.
Absolutely.
And it's, like, one of those distinctions that I wish that, you know, I did it back then as well. Because, like, I mean, maybe I would have not changed it, or maybe I did.
Yeah.
I would have. I don't know. You know, but it's definitely, like, one of those things that, like, I've been kind of, like, thinking about it. And I'm like, damn, I wish that I heard that advice sooner.
And I really empathize with that. And I understand sometimes it's, like, not a full regret, but you're like, oh, I, like, hindsight, you know, you're just like, oh God, hindsight, I would have done this differently, you know?
Yeah.
And that's, like, a really cool thing, and it can be a really disappointing thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to give it a toxic positive spin right now, but I think what's so special is that you get to share this advice.
Yeah.
So anyone listening, you know, they can apply that even if they're twice your age, you know, if they're like, you know what? I really have never discovered another passion of mine. I'm going to do that now.
Yeah.
Because I heard this lovely young woman, Alessia Cruci, talk about it. And, you know, she was right. I think that is so important. And hearing her story really inspires me to focus on more than
the one thing.
This one thing in my life.
Yeah.
So if that gives you any solace, you know, you've turned out incredibly, and you are going to continue, and you're fine tuning and whatnot. But you get to pass along that information to help others.
Yeah, and then that's kind of like what, you know, what I was thinking a lot, that I was like, okay, what can I say that, like, you know, maybe that's a hot take.
Yeah.
You know,
sure.
A lot of people
I think
are like,
it's a little bit of a hot take.
It is a hot take. A lot of people are like, wait, you're saying not to follow your passion? I'm like, yes, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Oops.
No.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's just like, you know, take the risk and try new things and like explore new places.
Expose yourself to multiple things, because you won't know until you
don't know until you try.
Yeah.
You really don't. And yeah, and I mean, I feel I found so many things that I'm really passionate about that I would have never even, like, thought.
Yeah, couldn't even fathom.
No.
And that's so funny, because I think most humans you talk to, you know, like anyone, you're like, is there something in your life that you love now or have been exposed to now that you're like, I would have never thought I would have liked that, or I didn't even know that existed.
Yes.
And now I do know it exists and I love it.
Yeah.
I think everyone would have a like, hell yes, it's this thing. Even if it's like a small product, even if it's a routine thing, even if it's clapping when a bee comes near you.
No, absolutely.
You know, like something small like that.
Yeah.
Or all the way to the large, you know, capacity of, I found out I have another passion that I want to pursue.
Yeah. No, and it's beautiful. And I think that, like, we are so set in, like, putting ourselves in a box. I am this kind of person. I'm this kind of friend. I'm this kind of, like, partner.
Identity.
I'm this kind of, like, which it does, like, help, obviously, like, to kind of, like, you know, it's important to know who you are.
Yeah.
And to kind of, like, you know, just, it's important for yourself, and it's important for how you present yourself to others if you know who you are. But at the same time, it's kind of, like, also on the dangerous side, because it's kind of like, well, I'm in this box. That means that I'm in the creative box. I work in film. That means that I can't be passionate about science.
I can't go out of it.
I can't just be fascinated about like biology. I can't be fascinated about, you know, automobile. I can't be passionate about this other thing just because, like, it doesn't fit within my box.
Yeah.
And I always love to kind of, like, go out a little bit in my comfort zone that way and just be like, oh my God, I know nothing about this one thing. Like, and maybe I'll hate it, but maybe I'm not.
Let me expose myself.
You know, let me expose myself. Let me just go try it.
Yeah.
You know, let me just, I don't know.
Get out
of my comfort zone. And what's the worst that can happen? That I have a new experience?
Yeah, that is the worst that can happen, typically. You know, as long as you're not doing anything extremely dangerous, like, that is the worst case scenario. You're like, I was just swimming with jellyfish. It's not a big
literally,
deal.
I'm like, I just did skydiving, but
skydiving is totally fine. Yeah,
No,
I mean,
but just,
obviously
like,
there's thresholds for that,
yeah.
but I think you have such a wonderful disposition when it comes to that, and I'm so glad you came on the pod and shared it.
I'm so glad you had me.
Thank you for letting us pivot with our desserts. thank you for being here. Thank you for the advice that you gave everyone. I think people are really going to resonate with what you said and hopefully feel inspired as I felt. And for people that are listening or watching, I will include Alessia's Instagram so you can go follow her and see how lovely and gorgeous and brilliant and hilarious she is, and follow along with more of her producing and any passions that come up that you end up
any
pursuing.
New things that comes up.
And thank you so much for coming on.
Oh my God, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Please like, subscribe, follow, share, tell
Please
Alessia that she's
this
amazing
woman.
No,
you guys need. I really hope that you grow so much,
Thank
then
you.
you're gonna start meeting people that are listening to you every day, because you bring such a light in people's life that I cannot wait for you to start touring and start doing things that people that just are used to listen to you can also meet you and just experience your energy and experience you, because you're just the best.
You're the best. Thank you so much. I love you. Okay, everyone, we love each other. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Bye.